Got a new headset with a microphone, so hopefully the audio is a little bit better now when we do these demonstrations. It's been quite the day getting ready for classes to start on Monday. Doing a lot of work. This is part 3 in our character design assignment, or at least the preliminary assignment. It's the last part of the assignment for this module. We're going to be flatting colors on this. I just want to throw this out here. There's a million different ways to do things in at least 4 or 5 different programs. So if you're using Photoshop, I'm sure you can find a similar way to do the exact same thing that I'm doing. I'm going to be using Procreate simply because it's easier for me to use Procreate, even though I probably have more experience coloring in Photoshop. At this point, I'm just more comfortable working in Procreate. If you have any questions, though, about switching back and forth, the process is still similar. The selection tools are actually a little bit more advanced in Photoshop, so if you're using the Wacom's and the Creative Suite, you can actually probably do this a little bit easier than how I'm going to approach it in Procreate. And like I said, a million different ways to skin this cat. Bad analogy, I apologize, but my way is not the only way. This is just the way I'm going to do it. So anyway, let's take a look at the file first. So this is where we left off last time. We have all of our line art done on our scary, spooky. I called this the Asmodeus form. It's just nonsensical words. I'm sure it has some horrible context somewhere. Let me switch over to the multi-stream so I can see who just joined us. Anyway, all right, it's not going to show me. Okay, cool. That's fine, though. Anyway, so let's get back into the way the file's built up. So here is just my text layer. Here's my line art layer. This is really important. This was the silhouette layer. Okay. So if I turn off the line art, you can see the silhouette, and that silhouette layer came from this silhouette layer that we did in part 1 of this demonstration. So part 1, silhouettes, just establishing interesting shapes. And then I took the shape that I liked, blew it up bigger so I could get more resolution, dropped in the line art, and now we're going to color, okay? So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to pop this layer below my line art layer, and I'm going to go to my line art layer, and I'm going to turn it to reference. Now this is something that I think is pretty much unique to Procreate. It's no big deal. If you're using Photoshop, you can just duplicate the layer and then hide it. Who knows, Photoshop might actually have a new function that I'm just not aware, but I do think this is something that's pretty unique to Procreate. So what the reference layers does is it allows you to get in this layer right here, and you can make selections. I'm going to switch to automatic, and I can come in here and I can make these selections really quick. And you'll notice that these selections are happening as if this line art layer, if I was making the selections on the line art layer, but I'm actually the layer below. So it's pretty convenient, okay? And in Procreate, if you want to add to that selection, you just reactivate the selection. And I'm going to come in here and zoom in on some of these parts. Now, if you're coloring a comic, you'd want to, you basically want to come in and color the whole thing. Missed a little tiny area here, no big deal. We'll go back and we'll fix that later. I'm just looking to make sure that I got in all the parts. I did. And now I'm going to take this and I'm going to invert. Okay. And then I'm going to come in and I'm actually going to turn reference off for a second here. And then I'm going to find a color that I'm going to make my vampire. I'm going to come over here and look at palettes. I sort of like this, but it's a little bright. I'm going to select that sort of neutral blue, and I think I'm just going to make a little bit of a color shift here, and then come in like right about there. It's a nice little mid-tone. I like to work with mid-tones. Anywho, and then I'm just going to come in here. I'm going to fill. Whoop, let's see. Oh, hold on. Let's undo that. I was on the wrong layer. You might want to lock this layer too, so you don't do that on accident like I just did. There we go. And bammo. Okay. Now, that actually looks a lot like the color that we had before. So if you need a better example of, that process, there's a more intense and darker hue, but I really do want to start out with sort of a mid-tone, and I'll show you why later. But anyway, that's pretty much flatting. We are making fast selections, and then we're just dropping in colors as fast as we can to get these flats in. And then once we have those, we can use those as selections, and then we can come in and drop in our shadows and highlights. So once again, a million different ways to color these character designs. I'm basically showing you a comic book method. I've been working in comics for 14 years. If you want to just paint it the way, if you have your own method, that's fine too. I'm showing you how I do it. You're free to do it any way you want to. So if this is your first time, feel free to just sort of cut your teeth the same way I'm doing it. So anyway, okay, let's go back to this. And actually, I'm going to take this selection and I'm going to come in here. I'm going to reactivate my selection. You reactivate your selection tools just by pressing down on the selection and holding it. And then I can come in here and I can actually save and load. And I'm just going to do this and I'll name it. Maybe. I guess it's just going to call it selection 1. That's fine. Okay. So I'm going to do this. So I got that saved. I'm going to select out of here, and I'm going to turn the selection off, and I'm just going to come in, and I'm going to actually, let me reload that real quick. Save and load. Here we go. We'll reactivate that real quick, and then I'm going to remove parts of this selection. So I'm on the remove instead of the add. I'm going to come in here. Oop, I'm on rectangle. I'm going to go back to freehand. Slow it down just a little bit. You'll notice I'm going pretty quick here. And that's because time is money. Okay, and then I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to find another hue, and I'm going to drop it in for the tongue. Okay. I'm going to switch my brush here real quick. I'm going to change it over to something that has a little bit more of a defined line. Okay, so I got the red of the tongue, I got the blue, and then at this point I'm just going to come in here and just start getting some colors that work for me, and I'm just going to really quick get those in. Now you'll notice that I'm not doing white, that I'm sticking with midtones. Now this is a pretty high key midtone, so to speak. Ooh. What is going on with this tool? Ah, hold on, sorry. Let's do feather normal. Whoa, 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 whoa. Out of the frying pan into the fire. Holy cow, that is big. Yeah, there we go. And I'm just coloring this as fast as I possibly can. And it's okay if you see little spaces that you missed, or maybe you want to make a few changes. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do the same thing, make sure I have the same, yep, okay. For my eraser, I have the same brush. Woo! Little too big. I'm just going to knock, wait, hold on, that can't be the holding line, sorry. Right there, feather normal is the brush I want. And I'll load these brushes up, so if you guys want to use them, you can. Okay, so, got the teeth, got the tongue. Let's do the same color for the nails. Now, if I want to, once again, I can come in and I can, oops. Let's see, let's go back to select, freehand, and let's just grab these real quick. I love how this lasso tool is designed in Procreate, where if you want to draw with it, you simply draw with it, and if you want to use it as a straight edge, you just start tapping. It's a really well designed tool. I love Procreate. See how fast I'm coming in and making these selections. Don't worry about painting out lines, we'll do that later. Right now, the last part of this assignment for this module is just getting these flats in. So you're right there, you've done the majority of the work and you're just about to cross that finish line. Let's see, is that an Akira shirt? It is a Batman Akira shirt. It's an homage. But yes, blah blah freak. To answer that question, yes it is. Picked it up at Comic-Con San Diego 2019, before the end of the world. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save that selection real quick. And I'm just going to call, I wish it would let me name it, but those are the claws. And then I'm just going to come in here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to fill those in with the same color that I did for the teeth. Just a little bit of repetition, a little bit of color harmony. Now if I don't like these colors, the cool thing is I can basically go back in, reload those. I can alter the hue, or I can just fill in just like I'm doing here. Once again, speed is of the essence. It looks like I forgot a claw here. Okay, we'll just come in, we'll add it. I should resave that selection, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just select the colors. Okay, don't forget these down here. Okay, not too shabby. Good enough for government work, so to speak. So let's go ahead and let's get rid of that. I'm just going to make a few touch-ups. A few things that I noticed. I'm going to come back to my color wheel and select that blue and just make some fixes here real quick. Okay. It's always a good idea when you get to a nice spot, go ahead and turn off that line art layer and just check your colors, see if they're working. Looking good. Okie doke, okie doke. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to do this, I'm going to select, and I'm going to do automatic, and I'm just going to select by this color range, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to hit remove. I'm going to turn this line art layer back on. And I'm just going to remove, sorry. And remove, there we go. And let's just remove some of this around sort of this gunky jawline. Okay. Oop, that didn't work the way I wanted it to. Okay. Never mind. Let's see. Get rid of that selection. We're just going to draw this in. So I'm going to go back to my color for my tongue and just get a lighter shade. Oh, and I'm on the wrong layer. You know, I really should lock that. Okay, I'm going to lock, after almost accidentally coloring on this thing 4 or 5 times, I'm going to go ahead and lock my line art layer so I can't accidentally color on it. Go back to my color layer and just manually draw this stuff in. Okay, so think of this almost like a grown-up coloring book. And you're just sort of coloring within the lines, doing it as fast as you can. Remember, you're going to have to color 3 of these and your turnarounds. So, time is of the essence. A lot of work to do this module. Don't spend a lot of time on it. Get as far as you can. Try and do it without distractions. You'll notice I'm not watching any television shows or movies while I'm working, even though the Book of Boba Fett's on right now. That's right. And the new episode of The Expanse. Okay, so there's sort of that creepy jawline. Maybe just a few areas where it's sort of poking through. Okay. And that's, I mean, honestly, that's pretty much it. That's all you have to do for the flats. The rest of this we're going to handle with highlights and shadows, and then I'll teach you how to do a masking layer. But if you're just turning in your flats, that's all basically you really need. Now, I'm very lucky that, you know, basically this vampire is all just one sort of undead color. If I would... Pickle Launcher, how we doing, Vincent? Good to have you back, sir. Thank you for the pickle launching emoticons, or whatever those things are called. Hoping you and your family are well. Anyway, that's flats. Pretty simple. So make sure you get those done before you move on. I'm going to go ahead and with this video, I'm going to keep going. We're going to start doing some cell shading and then some highlights. But for the first part of the assignment, this is all you gotta worry about. You can actually go back into your layers, turn this back on, and submit that, and that will work for this part of your assignment. Okay, but if you're going to keep going, let's keep the party started. So I'm going to go back in here to my selections. I'm going to open up my save and load and go back to selection 1, and then I'm going to create a new layer. And I'm going to put it on top. I'm going to turn this, though, to a multiply layer. And then I'm going to come in. I'm going to grab... Now, this blue that I had before would be fine if I wanted to. But I'm going to come in and... at this point, I really want to sort of pick... Excuse me. I want to be deliberate with my color selection. Like, if I have a cool light and it's sort of this, let's say it's this blue right here, nice and neutral. But if I'm going to have a contrasting light source, if this is going to be the color of my shadows, then that means my light source is going to be sort of this orange light source from this other side of the color wheel. Okay, so if my shadows are basically this neutral blue, then my light source is going to be this orange light source. And if now. With vampires, you might want to have almost like a blue light source, and then maybe a warm shadow. That's going to help it look like it's sort of creepy and lit at night. Viciously Innocent, hey, welcome. But for the sake, you guys probably are not going to be coloring vampires, so I'm just going to keep it at this blue, this neutral blue. And then I'm going to come in here. I have the selection, and I'm just going to lay in some flats now, or some cell shading. Now that's coming in really, really dark. That's okay. You can just come in here, and let's just turn the layer down to a size that fits just a little bit better. Now you'll notice that I'm able to come in here and really just hit this as fast as I can. And that's because I have that selection loaded, all right? It's really important, before we get started, I should say, to pick the light source. Now, this arm's going to be in shadow because the body's going to be blocking that. I'm going to pretend that the light source is coming in from the top right, which means if this were sort of an egg shape, the torso, then it's basically going to be in shadow all through here. Alright, I'm just doing this super fast. And then these parts are all going to be in shadow. Now if I want to, I can turn off my line art layer just for a second and make sure I'm not missing any of these gaps. This will be really important later. But right now I can just sort of eyeball it. I'm going to turn this down just a little bit. Now the cool part about this is because I'm basically painting the shadow, I don't have to come in here and I don't have to switch out a new color, because that shadow is going to be the color of the light, or you know, the opposite of the color of the light source. Okay, so you don't need to come in and do all these different colors. You literally just have to color the shadow. The shadow knows. Now this is where this assignment for me is going to get really tricky, because I have all these really complicated grooves and curves. But that's okay. Put your headphones on, plug in your classical music, and strap in. You designed it, now you got to color it. Life is full of tough choices. And you'll see as I start to do this how this actually starts to give everything a nice little feeling of depth. Jared is in the house. Raise the roof, Jared. Whoop, whoop. Okay. That's right, folks. This is your teacher actually doing this on Twitch at the same time. It's called multitasking, folks. Sorry, this is where I sort of phase out. I got to think about that light source. Oh, now that's the part I filled in later, so that's why I didn't select. So not all of this is going to activate the way you want it to, and that's okay. We'll just come back and get it later. I'm going to color in these dark spots. Now if I wanted to, I can come in here to my brush, and I can turn it to a multiply, and I want to say this is actually a multiply brush. Nope, it's not. There we go. Doink, doink. Maybe one more. Doink. There we go. Let's see if I can find my multiply. Maybe that one. There we go. Okay, so that's a multiply brush, so I can hit it. Or is it? Something's fishy. Well, let's see. Now notice, this is one of the things I struggle with Procreate. Photoshop, it's a lot easier to change the blending mode of your brush. So this is basically, I think this one's a color burn. Yeah. Okay, and that's why it's doing that funky thing right there. Let's go back and undo all that. And then this, and I really should name it. I'll show you guys how to, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to come in here about this brush. And Chad Feather normal. That's not true. We're going to come in here and Chad Feather color. I think it's color burn. Hold on, let me see. I'm forgetting the name of my layers. It's either color dodge or color burn. Anyway, I think it's color burn. So I'll say done. That way I know that's a color burn. This one's normal. Let's check this. We'll come in here, go into rendering. Rendering. Oh, no, it is color dodge. Daggone it. All right. So this is color dodge. Come on. Wow. Wow. What in the heck? There we go. Okay, so now let's go back to this one and we'll fix it. Rendering. And let's go to multiply. Select this one, also take it to multiply. Done. Oop, hold on. About this brush. Wow. I can't say I like whatever the heck Procreate's trying to do with this. It used to just bring up the keyboard and life was easy. Okay, hit done. And now that should, like, there we go. So if I want to come in and I want to just get that darker and darker, why isn't that? It should stack. Now this is a completely different brush, so I don't want to get it mixed in with my normals. Anyway, for whatever reason that's not working for me right now. So we're just going to roll with those punches and keep going. Turn that brush size down just a little bit. Let's see, let me come in here and read the chat real quick. Jared's in the house. If they want writing tips, I'm available. There you go. There you go, students. Ask Jared, ask away. Actually, Jared, you might have a whole bunch of students after they see this wanting scripts for their comic book class that starts on Monday. Oh. So somewhere along the line, I've accidentally turned off that selection. That's okay. I can come back here into the selection and just load it again. And there it should be there. And we'll come back in and start painting, and then we don't have to worry about accidentally going outside those lines like we just did. So that's the nice thing about saving selections. You can do that in Photoshop as well. I'll show you how. Anyway, so you're starting to see the depth showing up. Okay. Yeah, this is where the details on this design are really going to bite me in the butt. Let's see, viciously innocent. Any thoughts on making some NFTs? Absolutely. If you notice the hat, cryptocomics.com. Oops, sorry, camera's reversed. Check out everything. It'll be up on Crypto Comics when the book launches. So give me a few months, and everything will be up there for sale. Comics, pages, whatever you want. And once again, everything is copyright Chad Harden. So if you want to make an NFT of it, you can. I'm just going to take it back. What's the shirt you're wearing? Looks familiar. This is a Batman homage to Akira. So you're the second person to notice that, Jared? Now, once again, this is not part of the flat shading assignment. This is part of the cell shading assignment. So this will be the following module for those of you who are watching it all the way through. But if you're my student and you think I'm trying to kill you, I assure you I'm not. This, I'm basically giving you 1 week to do one and another week to do another. So, because this part can be tedious. Yeah, people, if you're not influenced by Akira, you're young. I don't think there's a Gen Xer that hasn't been influenced by Akira. Tetsuo! Okay, and slowly but surely, that depth is starting to appear. And I don't have any reference for this, but if you wanted to, get out a toy or a model or, I have all these statues around where I have these like anatomy statues that I use for reference on drawing all the time. If I wanted to use those, I could. But I'm just trying to get through this as fast as I can. Now, if it helps you to be more accurate, by all means, use that. But I'm just shooting from the hip, so to speak. And that's looking like a lot of fun. So I'm just gonna keep chugging away. Let's see. He's doing the Neats method, or of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I'm sure I spelled that wrong. Nietzsche. So let's, once again, I'm going to just pop off this line art layer real quick. Okay, so you can see what that painting's doing. Huh, that's so weird. Why don't we speed this up just a little bit? I'm going to turn that up really big. And then I'm just going to block in some big areas real fast. Now this, what I'm doing is called feathering. I'm going to turn down my brush size. I'm going to do a little bit of it again. This is, once again, that's an inking method. Been in comics too long. Oops. Turn that size up. Just got a little too happy with that. Got a little too much there. Gonna just hit undo. And like I said, notice how when I come in here and I just hit the shadows on the claws, it's the same color because I'm basically painting the shadow in, and that shadow has to do with the light. It doesn't have to do with the local color. Andrew Loomis in Creative Illustration has a really nice section on that. I think that's something that a lot of illustration students make the mistake of the first time they start coloring something. They just take the local color and they take a darker shade of that local color, and that's not what's happening. Shadows are the color, or I should say the opposite color of the light source. So I should have drawn that the other way. Is it possible to do absolute black digitally? I'm sure it is. Now, if I were coloring this in an environment or something like that, I'd need to worry about like the ambient color and some of these reflections. But I'm not. I'm basically just doing that lineup. Now, I went full dark here because I do want that leg to basically look like it's bent and receding far away, and that way it also helps the hand above the pop. Okay, so remember, dark recedes, light advances. And once again, the reason why we're doing it this way is because we're basically mass producing this artwork for this module. Remember, you have to do this for each one of your characters, your hero, your villain, your sidekick, and your turnaround. So time is of the essence, okay? If you have a method that you prefer to use, but it takes you a longer time, try this method because it's really fast. Alright, The number one rule, if you're one of my students, you should know the number one rule is always make it look good. The number one, or the number two rule, is to always hit your deadline. So for you to be able to hit your deadline on this assignment, you have to be able to color all of these as fast as you possibly can. So now the good news is right now, I'm not exactly sure how, but I've been able to do the flat and the cell shading on the shadows, and it looks like I've only been doing the stream for about 36 minutes. Okay, so if you're able to do, if you have your 3 characters plus your 3-part turnaround, and it's only taking you 30 minutes to do the cell shading, that's a good metric. Okay, if it's taking you hours, that's a bad metric. Okay, so like I said, if you have a way that you normally do this and it's just taking too long, give this method a try and just see how fast you can crank it out. Okay, all right, cool. So let's go ahead, let's turn off the line art layer. That's looking like a lot of fun. I'm going to come in here and just hit some of these parts that I sort of missed. Because remember, if we're going to paint this later on, this all has to make sense. Like right now, we still have all the line art. And that line art is basically giving us a false sense of rendering. But at one point, we're going to take that line art away. So you're going to want to make sure that you turn this on and off, and that your rendering is looking like it makes sense all over the place, and not just with your line art on. This music's so crazy. Oh my goodness. Shiny. Alright. That's looking a little bit better. I'm just going to erase this just a little. Just a little. We got another like. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. So you'll notice that I'm able to do this so quick because once again, I have that selection. I have that turned on. Now this is me being a perfectionist, but this will affect us later on. So see how nice that these forms are turning out when I come in and I just make sure that all these areas are hit the way they should be hit. It's starting to look like a painting, and that should be your goal. At one point, your color layers are going to have to stand on their own without your line art. So that's what we're doing here. Okay. Okay, there we go. That's looking good. Keep saying that, and then I find new things to color. All right. There we have it. There's our cell shading. Pop that back on. Looking spiffy. Okay. All right. So that will be, at this point, I will probably, let's turn off the selection and zoom in. That's a good endpoint for the cell shading tutorial. All right. Let's keep the momentum going. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do it for highlights, though. So remember, I said if I'm using this color for my shadow color, then that means our light color is going to be sort of this orange. All right, but I'm gonna add what's called a tone. Okay, I'm gonna get that in there. Now I don't with tones. I don't want them to be as slick as my shadows. Well, let's just keep it for the sake of keeping it. But I'm going to want to change my layer option, or is that what they're called? Layer mode. Anyway, for what I'm having a middle-aged moment. Blending mode. Sorry. Okay. But I'm gonna float this one on top, and I'm gonna do. Let's see. Oops, sorry, wrong place. Color dodge. Now, right there. That's what I want. And then I want to come in here, and I want to make sure that I have my color dodge on. Ooh, wow. Really, 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 really hot. More than what we want. Way more than what we want. So, let's come in here and let's turn that opacity down. It's really hot still. And it's not looking so saturated. So let's bring the saturation in. Still not looking saturated. Let's hold on. Let's go back to normal. There, okay, now it's starting to act away. All right, so I changed my blending mode back to normal, and then you can see that yellow light. Now, it doesn't look that way because what's happening is we have that yellow light hitting the blue skin, and yellow and blue cancel each other out, and it's basically creating a tone, okay? It's basically desaturating, all right? They're canceling each other out. But if we come in here and we use it on this spot, if we use it on a spot that's not blue, then it starts to pop. There we go. And that's what we want to have happen. Just sort of these slimy little... I'm going to take that, just size it down just a little bit. Now I want to maybe just zoom out and hit this where I think it's going to hit. I should load my selection back in. But you can see I'm basically painting in those hot spots. Now I'm very tempted to come in here and just sort of change the brush on this, because it's what I'm doing. This makes it look really slick. So the texture is giving it sort of this slimy feel. And I guess that's okay, because we're going for, vampires. I don't really picture vampires slimy. So I'd probably come in here and I'd want to definitely diffuse this, but for the sake of speed, we're going to keep it just for now, and then we'll come in and we'll tone it down later. Ah, the Russian bots. Welcome, Russian bots. Let's see, I love how the torso makes him look more corpse-like. Thank you, sir. Mr. Jared, you're very welcome. Glad you approve. There you go. They're only slimy. They're dripping with blood. So let's take a look at this. Okay, notice how my painting's starting to come together. Yeah, sorry guys, there's not a lot of commentary on this. There's just a lot of doing. I don't have Ray, and Perry here with me. So we're just busting this out as fast as we can. It's all coming together nice. Okay. Oop. Okie doke, okie doke. Okay. And that's all for highlights. So I'm just going to do a little bit of experimentation here. I'm going to leave my highlight layer up there. I am going to go ahead and I'm going to take my multiply layer and I'm going to merge it down onto my flat layer. You know, actually, hold on, back up. Let's duplicate this real quick. Hide. Duplicate. This is called non-destructive editing. That way, if you don't like if you don't like the results, you can always come back. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to take this again. I'm going to duplicate again, and this time I'm going to come up above my line art layer, and I'm going to just start playing with blending modes here. Darken, color burn. Now, my theory is once I get the soft light, I'm going to start to like these results a little bit better. Okay, screen blows us out, color dodge, add, lighter color, overlay, soft light. Okay, so I'm coming in here to soft light. Now let's duplicate this, hide. Remember, non-destructive editing, and that way if we mess up, we can always go back. Okay, so that's the whole reason why. Now let's come in here, and let's unlock this for a second. Oops. Okay, now look, I'm just turning that down, and what that's starting to do is it's starting to get rid of that, getting rid of those blacks. Okay, our blacks are basically going away. All right, and that's going to make it easier for us to blend. Okay. All right. So now we have this going on. And if we're happy with the results, let's mess with it just a little bit. Let's zoom out just a little bit more. And let's just see if we go a little bit lighter. Too light. So somewhere in between like 60 and 50 is sort of the sweet spot. Let's go ahead and let's do like 57. All right. And I think that's sort of good. All right. I think that's a good spot. So I have all my layers that I had above. I have those right where I want them. I like those. But I do like this as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all my visible layers and I'm going to get them close to each other. Okay. Let's duplicate this one and hide that one. And if we want to, we can open up a group and just sort of hide all these. But I'm going to take this now and I'm just going to point. And now, so here's all my hidden layers. And if I want to, I can just, like I said, create a new group. Don't really have to though. Now this is basically flat. And I can come in and I can start blending this the way I want to. Or if I'm out of time, you know, I can just say, hey, I'm out of time. Here's my painting. Okay. You know, time management's a big thing. All right. This doesn't look too shabby. If this is as far as you get, you know, that's still going to be a pretty good grade. But let's see if we can, you know, let's see if we can take it just a little bit further. I'm going to go ahead. I am going to load that selection again. Save and load. I'll load my selection. And I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to do just a few things. Airbrushing. Soft brush. I'm going to go back to my this. And it'd be a really good idea to make swatches of these somewhere. Oop. I'm going to turn the opacity on that way down. I'm going to turn it way up. And I'm just going to whoop. Turn it way up. Opacity way down. I'm going to hit some of these areas where I just think there's a little too much dark. Okay, but now it becomes a matter of blending everything. Woo! Let's turn that down even more. Now some of these edges you might want to keep hard edged. Okay, and that's fine. And some of them you might want to keep soft. That's fine too. So cast shadows soft. So let's, I'm sorry, I messed that up. Cast shadows hard. Turning shadows soft. And we're just basically coming in here and we're blending this all together. Okay, now if I want to come in and I want to tighten, I can. But once again, it comes down to time. How much time do you have on this assignment? Now you're going to see lots of spaces where you're like, oh, okay, I don't like how I did this. I need to fix that, and that's fine. But this is, once again, this is a way for you to really just sort of get those colors in and get them in fast and get the most bang for your buck. And remember, you can always come in and darken and repaint. Now remember, it's really important that you leave some lines hard-edged. Your cast shadows, leave those hard-edged. And your turning shadows soft-edged. Okay, so make sure that you're not softening everything. You're just softening the turning shadows, the turning forms as they curve. Let's see, I'm really invested in this stream, so I'm going to forego my podcast tonight and do it. Thanks, Mecha Jared. Hang around and watch the old colors happen. And like I said, if you have a better way of doing this, or a way that you feel more comfortable, a way that you feel makes you faster, by all means, you are welcome to do it that way that you know how. Once again, I'm coming from a place where I've been doing comics for an extremely long period of time, and haven't been doing as much digital painting since I left my advertising days behind. Whoa, what was that? That was weird. What the heck is going on? Somehow I changed brushes. Okay. Looks like I came in and probably did a little bit of spray painting in there. Didn't really mean to. Anyway, we're painting out those lines. Okay, so that means we're getting rid of those feathering options. Alright. Feathering goes away. Okay, anyway. Repeat the process. Thank you. Wow, thank you so much. Old wise monk. Monk, we need to catch up, buddy. I do want to mention, because Monk does work for Zag, that we're using a lot of Zag products on this stream. One of them is their textured screensaver, which I can't live without. I want to thank everyone at Zag for letting me try their products out. Really impressed with them. If you don't have a screensaver for your iPad, make sure you run down to your nearest Zag store and get one, or order one online. They're easy to install yourself. I installed mine. So like I said, we can get a little bit of nuance in here if we want to. Or we can just sort of keep blending away how we're doing it. I'm going to come in here and just sort of blend these away, get rid of some of this feathering. Once again, feathering is feathering and hatching. That's a technique to use when you're drawing, but when you're painting, you want to make sure that you sort of paint that all out. Okay. Now you're watching me do this. You're like, wow, Chad, that's really fast and sloppy, but look, when you zoom out, you can't tell. All right. So make sure that when you do that, or that, you know, when you're thinking about level of detail and whatnot, that you're looking at your painting from the size that most people are going to view it at. And that way you're not wasting a ton of time rendering details that nobody's ever going to see. So let's pump this up. Come in here. This is an area that really needs some work. It's a big area. Nobody's Illusion, how we doing? Welcome, welcome. A lot of my students are coming into these streams are getting a sneak peek of some of the videos they're going to have to watch this semester because I'm still making them. You're wondering why your class is not on Canvas yet. The cat's out of the bag. It's not done, folks. That's okay. Quality takes time. Okay, so you can see how I'm just really quickly hitting those areas where I had that hatching and just blending it. And if you take it too far, it's okay. You can stop and just grab your pencil out. Treat it like a color pencil and put the detail back in. Or hit undo. All right, where would we be without our Russian bots? Welcome, Russian bots. Oh, hold on. Messed that up. Go back. Cast shadows. Hard edge. Turn over goes hard. Once again, it's really important not to just come in and completely render out everything. Remember, your cast shadows have hard edges. So notice, if it's a shadow that's being cast, I'm keeping it hard. If it's part of the turning process, I'm softening it up. There we go, look at that. Bam! Nice muscle. Nice muscles. That is an old reference that nobody from the younger generation's gonna get. Should offer prizes. I know Mecha Jared's gonna get it. Cool, cool, cool. Alright, let's just zoom out a little bit. Okay, there's still a lot of choppy going on over here. So let's sort of, let's work on this area, get it smoothed out. Look at how nice that looks. Like I said, we're not spending a million hours doing this. This is a fast and dirty painting. You just got to get it done, okay? But it's a lot of bang for the buck, too. I mean, we've only been streaming for an hour and a half, and this painting's pretty much getting to the finish point. Now, so I did this with a soft color. I think it was a soft color. Let's see what layer. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and look at it. I think it was like a soft color layer, and then I came and I flattened it. Now I'm just sort of painting over the flats, or the flat. I'm painting on the flattened layer, but not a complicated process. You what I was getting at is you could do this with a clipping mask as well, and same results. Same process. I just think this is a little bit faster. Okay. This is getting really complicated, so I'm just going to come in here real quick. I'm going to hit that soft brush, and I'm just going to sort of paint out all these ridges. And then I'm going to blend. I just don't want it that textured in the hand. I don't mind it in certain areas, but I don't want it in all areas. Now that sort of deadened the highlights. That's okay. I just come in here and go back to my Chad holding lines normal. Well, actually, no. Let's do color dodge. No, let's go to that color right there. And then we can add those highlights back in. Blend them back. Okay, so that's a little bit of push and pull, but it helps that not look so contrasty in the hand. I don't mind it where we have this texture up here because that's sort of the effect I want, but I don't really want that happening in the hand. This is just giving me a little bit of heartburn. There we go. Okay. A little too contrasty up here still for me. So let's hit that with... Make sure we get back to our blue. Okay. I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to go import it. I'm going to grab my color dodge brush. And I'm just going to come in and just pop a few. Size it down. A few highlights. That's way too hot. Let's turn the opacity down there. How much longer am I going to stream for? You know, I mean, honestly, I could be done. I mean, I really could be done. But I'm just sort of, I don't know, enjoying playing around with it just a little bit. So, I guess until I'm ready to go to bed. But here's the great thing. This is also streaming to YouTube. So, you guys can watch as long as you want. When you get tired, you can leave, come back, watch it on YouTube, like it, subscribe, and share, please. Help get the word out there. These are free art tutorials to anybody who wants them. They are part of the curriculum at for digital painting at Utah Valley University, or will be, I should say. So yeah, don't feel obligated to stay awake all night. It's getting close to midnight. Some of you guys gotta wake up and go to church in the morning. So feel free to bug out at any time. I'm just trying to, I mean, honestly, you could work on this forever, but I'm just trying to get to a good spot where it looks really nice, and I didn't really spend that much time on it, okay? Which would probably be, right about now. So, it goes to YouTube automatically. Yes, it does. Yeah, so you can like and subscribe to I think it's just Chad Harden, and you can watch these at any time on YouTube. Yeah, Ryan, I'm trying to put all my demos there, and then that way, after you graduate, if you want to go back and watch them again, you don't have to be enrolled in college. You can just refresh your memory on it. All right, cool. You're probably the first Nobody's Illusion. Now, if I wanted to, I could come in here and I can get some like crazy ambient light going. Something like that. I don't want to. Too much work. Oh, Jared, I'm sorry. Nobody's Illusion. You're number 2. Thanks, Jared. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. Okay, so I've come in here and I've sort of pumped up these highlights. I'm also going to come in here and I'm going to punch some of these darks. Woohoo! Too much. Oh, let's go ahead and let's turn off. We're going to turn off our selection tool. Now, you'll notice on this, I'm going to go ahead, when you find yourself sort of scrubbing, that's a good time to turn up the opacity to your brush. Oh! A little too big there. Let's see, I meant subbed on YouTube. I'm broke, otherwise... No, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. I don't expect... Please, if you're one of my students, do not send me money, okay? You're already sending me money for tuition, okay? Never give me money, okay? Let's see, I'm like the little guy on the Goofy cartoon with the flag who always says, hooray! Alright. That's right. Ryan, we got to get you back on that horse. Ryan says he's missing the digital painting. Hopefully one of these days, if I make partner, we can maybe do some Streams together, Ryan. That'd be fun. The good old days. Now you'll notice I'm coming in here. I'm hitting these shadows on the Terminator. And the Terminator is the darkest part of a shadow. And then I'm also just sort of darkening where I need to darken, period. Okay, but once again, we're not trying to draw it back in. We're just trying to paint it. So, Terminator. When you have a sphere and the light direction's coming this way, you know, the first thing you do is you divide light and dark. Okay? Now, what happens though is as those protons hit back here, then they bounce and they actually hit the side of this, and it's called reflected light. And that means the darkest part of the shadow is actually this mid part right here, and that's called the Terminator. Alright? This is a really crude, really sort of crappy demonstration. But trust me, if you look at some painting books, I'm just going to clear that section out. It's a real thing. And so I'm coming back in and I'm adding the Terminator in some of these spots. Getting that line where it should be. Just reestablishing some of these darks that just got a little too blown out with that airbrush. Yeah, you need to come out and hang out. I know you guys are... Ryan, you still up in Ogden? Anyway. Yeah, that's looking really creepy. That contrast really helps sort of make that area pop, which is good. We want the attention to be on the face. So having the most contrast there really helps. If we get too penciled in, you can always come in and just do this whole... Ah! Holy cow. I'm going to turn down the opacity on that smudge. Maybe turn down the size too. Just keep coming in. We can do what's called a push-pull method. Anyway, get a nice Terminator happening there. This is not the Terminator like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's the Terminator on the shadows. Cool, cool. This is looking pretty nice, if I don't say so myself. Now, once again, all this is sort of extra, okay? I mean, honestly, at this point, I think I could pass this off as something that's pretty finished. I might want to come in and just do a little bit of darkening in some of these other areas, like through here. Okay, maybe through here. Well, you want to choose your focal points. Okay, you want it to be purposeful. You want to make sure like you're controlling the eye flow. Okay. So I would probably want to come in here and do a little bit of darkening in this area. Get that eye back into the torso region. But focal points, heads, hands, feet, and then some of this. Let's see. Allison. Hey, Allison. Holy cow, we have 10 people watching and it's almost midnight. I'm doing so good, Allison. I'm missing you. I hope you are well. Once again, I probably will be chopping these videos up for class, but I'll leave them intact on YouTube. Okay. All right, guys. I'm liking this. Now, one of the things about doing something like this is if we just leave it as is, it almost looks like our vampire's just sort of floating midair. And since we're going to have this in a lineup with all of our other finished pieces, it might be a good idea to get a drop shadow in there. So let's do a drop shadow real quick. There we go. Look at that. That's turning out nice. And once again, if I have like a ambient light, I'd want to come in and I'd want to paint in some of that reflected light, but since it's basically just a white background, I think that's helping it pop. Okay, we're going to call that good. Let's do... I'm going to load that selection again. I'm going to create a new layer. Come here, and I'm just going to add a new layer. I'm going to go into my selection. I'm going to save and load. And then I'm going to come in here, and I'm just going to grab... Nope, oops. I think I have a... Wah! Sorry. Okay, got that black layer, and then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to transform that. I'm going to, ooh, freeform. Sorry, I'm really messing this up. Let's reset. Okay. Then I can come in here and I can adjust the opacity. And then I'm going to keep that black, and then I'm just going to come in here. Oops. This will help it so it doesn't feel like your painting is just floating away on the air. Yes. Chad, this is... Oh, okay. Like, what platform is... Hold on, let's see. What platform is what, Allison? I'm sorry. What platform is that on? Procreate? Is that what you're asking? I'm not... Hold on, let me see. I gotta scroll back. How is the chat? Let's see. Okay, hold on, let's see. Oh, cool. What are you doing, Allison? How is the chat? Okay. Retro Crush. Okay. Okay. All right, I'm caught up. All right, sorry. Trying to trying to demo and do crazy stuff at the same time. So now, one of the things I want to do is, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this layer and I'm going to add, I'm going to take this and then I'm going to merge down. And what that's going to do is it's going to change the opacity. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to select that and I'm going to turn up to my soft brush. I'm going to turn off my selection. Hold on, that should have selected the layer. Select. Whoops. Whoop, 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 whoop. Why didn't it select the layer? Alright, it's not working. Uh-oh. Now I'm getting tired, guys. This is when you start making mistakes like these. There we go. It's time to go to bed. Well, that's the claw. Okay, so that works. All right. You know what? Let's try this. Automatic. There we go. This will make sense, trust me. Invert. Okay. So you want to darken it the closer it is to the light source. Okay, that's by the feet. And then also now we want to deselect and we want to come in here and we need to go to our filter and we're going to do Gaussian blur and we're, oh shoot, hold on. I could have swore that, oh there we go, pencil. Whew. I was like, it's not letting me Gaussian blur my far away part. There we go. And now I can sort of take this shadow part that's back here and just sort of blast it into oblivion. Okay. And that's still a little too dark, starting to compete. So let's knock it back down. There we go. Now we sort of have that creepy drop shadow. I don't know if I like that or not. I really don't. It's sort of competing. So let's do this. We'll do mask. And let's bring up that holding lines normal. And let's just make sure it's going where we want it to go. We'll add just like a little bit of texture in here. But I don't like how that shape's getting really complicated around the hand. So I'm just knocking it back. I'm doing like a controlled delete on that. Maybe add a little bit of texture in the ground. Okay, I'm liking that better. All right. Now, we're going to call that good. This is on a floating layer. Okay, so if we want to, let's go ahead and do this. Merge mask. We can take this, merge down, and this is all on a floating layer now. So if I, when I'm creating my lineup, I'm gonna take these, I'm gonna copy these, and I'm gonna paste them all together for my lineup. Anyway, guys, it's been about 2 hours. We're coming up on midnight. My goal was to get this video done. We got it done. I'm going to post it to my module. I still got to chop it up. So anyway, I hope you found this informative. And It's looking a little bit blown out on one monitor, but it's looking great on the other monitor. So I'm just going to look at this monitor over here and think good things about it. Like I said, I can spend more time on it if I have the time, but because you're going to be doing 3 of these paintings this module, you want to make sure that you're moving along at a pretty good pace. I'm happy with where it's at, so I'm just going to call it there. And call it good there, and we'll be back next time. So thank you everybody for joining. I'm gonna get caught up on the chat here real quick before we go. Oh gosh, I really need to change my Kickstarter ad. Yeah. Let's see. I was asking. Let's see. That's one of your vampire characters for Death Watch. Yes, Allison. It's for a comic book. Yeah, everyone, let's be good. I may or may not be back off and on. Like I said, we're going to be doing a series of these for digital painting. So I'll be back next time. Maybe we'll do the Death Deer. Okay. We'll see you guys then. Thanks for joining me. Once again, like and subscribe on YouTube if you can, and on the socials, so we can bring more people in and we can get more art done. Thank you, everybody.